are quite good. Attack warning. Is it for real? Attack warning. It's for bloody real.
Live from Colorado Springs, the Drop Culture Podcast.
Want to confirm, is this an exercise? Roger, copy. This is not an exercise.
Come on, quick, get down. 1, 2, 3.
Welcome, everybody, to the Dropped Culture Podcast. This is that podcast where we pick up that piece of pop culture you forgot about or missed, shine it up real nice, and cram it in your ear holes. I'm Dan, and as always, I am joined by the
Brock.
Illustrious.
The illustrious.
Yes, illustrious.
The infamous?
The infamous. Yes.
Infamous?
Brock. Smith.
Huh. Infamous. Going back to one of the funniest movies ever.
There you go.
So what are we talking about this week?
Oh, we're going to talk about, we had our Spacegiving, and this is kind of the leftovers, if you will. I know it's after the New Year's, so you really shouldn't digest something, after the New Year's if it's the leftovers from Thanksgiving. However,
if you still have turkey left from Thanksgiving, geez, it's gone bad.
When you've got a Buccaneer adventure starring Spencer for hire,
you have an excellent movie.
You got something, and that movie is The Ice Pirates from 1984.
I still just call it Ice Pirates.
I do too, but it's The Ice Pirates. But I've always just called it Ice Pirates.
At last, the space comedy you didn't know you were waiting to see. The Ice Pirates. In the far distant future, in a galaxy where those in the know don't go, real estate is cheap, and they've got great sushi. But there's no water.
You got any water?
It is a time when desperate men will swing from the chandeliers.
Pirates, sound the alarm!
Just to get a drink.
Just take a look at that.
Good men like Jason, space pirate, and explorer of the cosmos. His chief engineer and fellow rogue Roscoe.
They come. Oh, here, quit that.
And the beautiful Princess Karina. One tiny band who must bust their buns, battling the masters of all the water in the galaxy. The evil Mithradoids, famous for not being nice.
Killing you would be too easy. I have something better in mind.
The Ice Pirates.
Let's party!
See startling special effects. See depravity in zero gravity. See glamour girls from another galaxy. See kung fu robots. And delight in the mysteries of the seventh world. The one place in the universe to get a decent glass of water.
Don't do that.
You insist. How's it going? Oh, it's going great. How's it going with you?
The Ice Pirates. A totally spaced adventure.
I mean, there's so many things that are so good about this movie, and it's just the cast. The dialogue, not so much.
There's some funny parts within the movie that I find funny anyways.
Oh, yeah.
And as like I look back fondly on this movie, this is a movie that I remember watching as a kid a lot, which is weird now that I've seen it as an adult. But again, it came out in 1984, so Of course, I watched it a lot. I was a latchkey kid.
Yeah.
You know,
Come on.
Yeah.
If it was on, I was watching this shit.
absolutely.
If there was nothing else to rent in the video store, Ice Pirates is always an option. You know?
Ice Pirates always on Cinemax.
It was one of those movies that you'd watch and you'd be like, oh, okay. You know, I didn't know half of the people that are in it.
No, well,
Didn't
especially
matter.
not at that time. And being young like that, I mean, really, this movie has everything you would want.
Right.
It's got like a piratey style adventure at the beginning.
In space.
In space. There's robots. There's action. There's robots with swords.
Beautiful
there's
women.
Beautiful women.
Boobs. They don't show any, but...
No.
Right.
But there are some sexy scenes. We'll get to that because I've got problems with that.
Yeah, I think I know what you mean, but we'll get
find
there.
out.
This
But it had all those things, and I like clearly remember a lot of the scenes. Even like the fact that they were looking at Earth at the end. And I was like, I'm 10. That makes sense. Okay.
Oh, it's our planet.
Oh, they're coming here. Where's that other ship?
And it forms clouds.
Anyway,
Yay,
yeah.
it's us.
But lucky you.
Yeah. Welcome to Earth.
Welcome to 80s Earth. Still Cold War, still consumerism.
Yeah.
Lots of cocaine.
We're gonna shoot you when you land. We just don't know you.
But at any rate, I could see how as a kid I really liked this movie, and I could see why. I mean, again, robots fighting with swords. There's space, flight. I was a Star Wars kid.
They had their own cantina scene.
Absolutely.
You know, they had they even had like Evil Lynn from He-Man. You know what I mean?
Yes.
They had the Buccaneer part of it it's crazy that they went back around and said, you know what? Pirates in space. No, I can get that. I can understand it, but why did they have to wear Buccaneer outfits and carry
That's the part where you're
sabers
like,
and-
hold on, he's holding a sword.
Yeah, but it lends to the comedy of it.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
And they got robots that fight, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, and the robots are like really shitty, but so funny. They're the comedic aspect.
Yeah, they are definitely. They lend some comedy to the show.
Yeah. And then you also have like these weird aliens, and you even have Bruce Valanche.
Dude, there's so many like people that are in this, and you're like, oh wait, that's that person. You know,
Right.
I'm like, what? First of all, Angelica Houston's in this movie, and I'm like, what? John Carradine. What is going on? Ron Perlman.
Ron Perlman. And he even like whenever he's cooking, it's so funny. He's like, maybe I'll put some of this on my mom's carrots. You're like, what the? They were having fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, even God, who was his first in command? What was that guy's name?
Michael Roberts.
He's been in a lot of stuff.
Roscoe was his name on this movie, though.
They had such weird names, but I don't remember any of their names. Even he was Jason, right?
Yeah, Jason, because you hear his name a lot.
Yeah.
Throughout the show.
Princess Karina.
Right, who was played by Mary Crosby.
Angelica Houston was Maida. Ron Perlman was Zeno. John Matuzak was Killjoy, Sloth.
Yeah.
John Carradine was the Supreme Commander. Natalie Cor, which you've seen her in a lot of stuff. She was the nanny. Bruce Valanche, which, you know, I always thought he was just such a weird character in that. Also, Jeremy West as Zorn. I thought just for like a quick, I don't know, 2 minutes until I looked it up, I thought that the princess, right?
Mm-hmm.
I thought she was the one that was in Arena.
Oh, no.
I was like, nope.
No. But I think she was probably best known for Dallas. She was on that show for quite a while, I think.
Right.
But you've seen her in a lot of things. Like she was always, like she has some Fall Guy credits. She has 3 Fall Guy credits.
That's pretty good.
I mean,
come on.
Yeah.
Ian Abercrombie. Okay. I know he's probably done a lot, but what do you remember him from? Strange One.
Oh.
Army of Darkness,
yeah,
man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Army of Darkness. That's the one movie that I remember him the most. Strange one. Yeah. Dost thou speak the language? Klaatu Varata. I mean, even the Rockney Tarkington dude, the patch guy, he's been in shit so much that you're like, I've seen that dude.
Oh,
so many
yeah,
things.
100%.
There was just, but at the time, I mean, come on, what movies were out? Like Space Hunter, Space Raiders, Battle Beyond the Stars, Kroll, all of these misfit, weird science fiction movies that Star Wars was like, hey, let's give you all of this.
Well, and the director, Stuart, what was it, Raffel?
Stuart Raffel?
Yeah.
Raffel?
I mean, he made some great films like Mac and Me. He made what was the other one? He made The Philadelphia Experiment.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You know, I've been wanting to watch that one again here.
Yeah, recently. I haven't seen that in a long time. But the other one that I was thinking of that he did that threw me off, what was that one? Passenger 57.
He wrote it, right?
Yeah. Well, I think he directed that one. Yeah, he wrote that one. You're right. Yeah, so he wrote that because he did write a lot of stuff and not direct it.
God, no, not a lot of good stuff.
No,
Tammy and the T-Rex. He did direct that one.
He did.
That was one of the worst movies ever. Tammy and the T-Rex. Wasn't the T-Rex like in a backpack and she was a skateboarder?
I don't.
Skateboarders.
I did not watch that movie. Not a ton.
Everything that I've read about like John Matuzak is he was like the coolest freaking dude.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
I mean, he was always really cool. How many years did he play in the league? Not that many, right?
Not too many. What was his character's name in this? I can't remember.
Killjoy.
That's right. Yeah.
He really only made a few movies, but his impact was freaking amazing. Come on. You got Goonies. He's Sloth.
Of course.
And that's one of the classic characters of all time. His last movie was in 1990. So, I mean, he was on Perfect Strangers, which is pretty awesome. I mean, Perfect Strangers is a high mark to hit.
So here's how long he played in the NFL. He was the first overall pick in the 1972 NFL draft.
Okay.
By the Oakland Raiders, or played most of his career with the Oakland Raiders until he retired after winning his second Super Bowl in 1981. So he played for 8 years.
He was drafted in 72?
Yeah, 9 years. Yeah, 9 years.
Okay. And then
retired in 81 after winning his second Super Bowl.
Did he win with the first Badass Raiders with Madden? Must have. Yeah. He was part of that badass team. But yeah, no.
And those guys were all kind of superstar-y anyways, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
That's pretty crazy too, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, to think that, he made that and then, you know, he was kind of...
Well, I think before this, he would have been in North Dallas 40, like you mentioned earlier. Caveman.
I was watching that. Atuk.
And then the Goonies would have came out the next year after this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why I was watching that.
You were watching Caveman?
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
Atuk. Not even for an episode. Jeez.
Yeah. I know, right? And then Roscoe, right? Roscoe was such a good character in this.
Yes.
And I didn't remember he was in A Star Is Born because I did watch that movie.
Right. I remember you saying that.
Man, it was weird. Rain Man. He was in Rain Man. He did some bigger movies, but yet
just bit parts, really.
Yeah. Nothing like this. I mean, he was pretty awesome in this.
He was the best in this.
I think so. I really do. He was
the hero of the movie.
Yeah, way better than Robert Urich, you know. And then you got Ron Perlman, and come on, you can't really. There's nothing really else to say about Ron Perlman.
Of Beauty and the Beast fame.
Yes, Angelica Houston, which
it might also throw out like some Hellboy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hellboy.
that Sons of Anarchy show that he was on for 45 years or whatever.
Yeah, I never watched it.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah. Angelica Houston, which is she's royalty, John Huston's daughter.
And she was the third generation in her family to win an Oscar.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What did she win the Oscar for?
I don't
Witches?
remember. I don't remember.
But yeah, I mean, Robert Urich, he was on what? Countless TV shows.
Spencer for Hire. That's all I remember. I think that show only ran for like 3 or 4 years.
He was on a lot.
I didn't watch it. I just remember seeing the commercials for it often as a child.
Yeah, never watched Spencer for Hire. I don't think I ever would. It
was like an Equalizer ripoff. But probably before that. I don't know. I don't know when the Equalizer was out.
Yeah. No, I'm trying to think. Yeah, Carradine too, royalty.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just you have so many different people in this movie.
Well, and let's talk about Valanche for a minute because he's kind of a strange
personality.
Well, I was going to say because he's more of a personality than he is an actor. Like he's been in some things, but he's mostly known as a writer, and I think he's won most of his awards for doing the Oscars.
Yeah, it's
like
weird
being a writer for the Oscars.
Yeah, for Billy Crystal.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just weird. I remember him from those old Hollywood Squares back in the day.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, they used to have that show, and he was like, he was on there for like a couple years, I think, or something. I used to watch all those old school shows, like way after, on the Game Show Network or whatever, This is from 1975.
It's Bruce Valanche for the center square, please.
But yeah, I remember him being on that show. I think he was on there for a couple years.
Wow.
Or maybe he was just on there when I watched it. I don't know.
He's been around forever.
He's very memorable.
Yeah. Which is the weird part because even in this, he doesn't even look the same as he does right now.
Well, because he's just a head.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was creepy. It was weird, creepy stuff. I don't know. But yeah, no, he was another just like character. He's just a character. He had a lot of good character actors in this movie. Didn't really disappoint when it came down to that.
No.
Even the robots were characters.
Yeah. Had a $9 million budget in 1984. Made $14.3 million.
They killed it.
Well, they covered costs. And everybody got paid, and they probably had some nice food on the, some nice
craft
services on the
full of Twizzlers,
as you do.
They had like 1 million Twizzlers. That's like the best.
What is that, like the Wayne's World?
It's like, I don't know why everybody bows to corporate sponsorship. Just like me. Wait a minute, I'm having a headache. Here, try 2 of these. Oh, Nuprin. Yeah, Wayne's World.
Yes,
Wayne's World. Let's get into the movie. What do you think?
Yeah,
you ready
absolutely.
for it? I mean, there's really not extra backstory, I don't think.
No, it started out under another name. It was the Water Planet, and it had like a $20 million budget when they went to go do this. But MGM was having some problems, like with some finances. So they were like, here's $10 million, call it this.
Yeah. We can only get you 8. Ugh. God, so MGM had a contract with Robert Urich to make a TV series, so he had to be cast.
Yeah.
And then also, they did not watch Star Wars intentionally.
That's bullshit.
They did.
Dude, and this is in let's say they were making it in 82. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. So Return wasn't out yet. You're telling me these people who work in movies haven't seen Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back? Get the hell out of here.
No shit. I mean, you know who Luke's father is at that point.
That's right.
But MGM, they're not.
Well, and I think, that was just a time when they were having a terrible time, know, which is one of multiple times they've had a terrible time.
Yeah.
So.
MGM's gone through a lot of different people.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, yeah. Rotten Tomatoes has it as a 9%.
What, this movie?
Yes.
Nice.
Approval rating of 9%.
Well, I say fuck them.
Yeah, it's just funny.
Yeah, it's this is not a movie. Like, you're not watching this and being like, this movie changed my life.
How could it?
I am a better person for having seen it, and in fact, I'm going to dedicate my life to the way this movie made me feel and the feelings that I get from the movie itself. I am now an ice pirate myself.
Like I said, it was always the backup movie at the video store that you're like, okay, the only video store at this town that we're visiting is at a gas station. They got ice pirates. Let's watch it.
It's fun.
Yes. Yeah. I remember my dad even always would joke about the space herpes shit. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just part of it. Everybody remembers that part.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, all right. So what is this about?
I think we said it like 8 times.
Well, no. We know that they're ice pirates, but...
Yeah, in the future, as we get like the stuff up front... I love any movie that has to start with telling me all about where we're about to begin.
Yeah. In the distant galaxy.
And I'm like, okay. So, I mean, I can't say that. All Star Wars movies do that.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, but this one's more like Kroll.
Yeah. So basically they're mercenaries. Not mercenaries. They're pirates that steal
ice
from, but there's only like a few people that really control everything from what they said in the beginning.
Yeah, it's like a monarchy for the planet.
Yeah.
And
for the galaxy or something.
Yeah, the galaxy.
Yeah.
There's only one source of water in the galaxy. It's like spice.
Yeah, it's just this one place, this one planet they get all the water from, it seems like.
But it's got like a lock and key on it. So it's just like planet Druidia. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and it's really they kind of, it's weird because you have this monarchy and they all dress like I don't know, like Victorian age. Yeah. And then you also have pirates, you know what I mean, that dress like pirates.
Swords.
And then you have robots
and spaceships
and space pimps.
Yes,
you know,
and
robot
space
pimps.
The best kind of pimps, by the way.
Yeah, they have oh my god, motorcycles and stuff, and like the land ships. You know, just weird shit. They just grabbed everything and threw it at the wall.
This movie is a little bit Star Wars. It's also a little bit Mad Max. More specifically, Road Warrior.
Yeah.
Like the goofiest looking Road Warrior vehicle ever. But it's like all these little things. It's like, here's some pirates, here's some space.
It's a little bit Cutthroat Island.
You know, yeah.
The Gina Davis vehicle.
I think that came out much later.
Yeah. They took
it's a little bit Treasure Island.
Yeah, they decided to take it from this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is a genre changing,
so
meteoric rising film.
Well, it's weird because
in your mind forever.
How many planets do they go to? 2?
Yeah, 2 or 3.
They fly.
Well,
by.
technically 3.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. They only go to 3, so they're in space most of the time. And okay, so it starts off, and they're about to
dock into. Well, they're sneaking up on a much bigger ship in their little ship.
But their little ship is pretty freaking big.
Yeah.
And so this ship is bigger than the Sulaco.
Yeah.
From freaking Alien and stuff. You know what I mean?
It's huge.
And so they have all this ice on board. And so they're docking in, and they got to drop through the ceiling, right? They got to cut through.
He uses that blaster thing to cut through the...
Yeah, but they can't really, like, open the doors, so...
I love it, because first he just, like, burns a little hole.
Yeah, so they can peep.
Peeps in.
Yeah.
But apparently he doesn't see anything, because as they try to keep opening it, like, the one dude's like, let me do it.
Yeah. Roscoe bunches into it, and finally it opens.
Yep.
And guess what?
It's a bathroom.
Yep. And some dude's taking a dump.
Some alien.
Yeah, he's all. They have a fart in the whole time too, which is weird.
Well, you know.
And here's where
You got the IBS.
Right. Well, the dude's been in there for a while, I guess. He didn't even see the laser coming through.
I know, right?
He's concentrating on something.
Well, you know, maybe he saw it and he said it and then he did it.
Right. So I mean, you have all these different robots and everything like that, and you have all these different pirates, like Pearlman's on there. Some dude that looks like John Matuzak but isn't.
Right. There's a couple extra dudes that die soon.
Yeah, and these robots are all clunky and they're moving weird. One's like a badass and has some like knives on his arms and stuff like that. So they get through and they're like, take care of him, and they pass it all the way down to the very end.
And it's Ron Perlman.
Yeah, and Ron Perlman's like, take care of it. Oh, and he runs and he just knocks him in the head, knocks him out. Oh. He sees birds and you know, and then that's it.
Right.
So they're going through the ship, and then there's like a Rocky robot, right? But it's like the shorter version of the Rocky robot, and it's I guess it's patrolling, and then they have to jump into the rafters to kind of get away because they hear something because the robots are like tripping.
Those robots are really good at getting up in the ceiling and the rafters. I was like, how did that happen? Because they look like they weigh a lot.
Right. Yeah. They have to, right? So we know.
And you notice you only see Jason and Roscoe jump down, I think, or maybe it's Jason and Maida.
You do get to see them drop down, but you see, and I watched it again, that one of the robots actually falls down to kind of fit it with it.
Yeah.
So of course they're on there to get ice, right? But they got to hide in some room. So they open a door, and guess who's there? It's the nanny or whatnot,
right.
the maid woman. And Robert Urich is like, they're trying to be quiet because the other robots are acting stupid. You know, he's like, there's always a problem with these robots. You know, where do we get these guys at? You know?
Right.
So one of them's got the nanny. She's all hidden. And then there's a woman under glass and smoke and stuff like that. And Robert Urich's all thinking rapey and everything. You know what I mean? Like, oh, what if I look down her shirt? And they're like, what? Yeah, exactly.
It's like, where? Robert Urich?
Yeah, that's weird. You're like acting like Ted Danson.
Listen, you perm wearing Spencer for hire.
Well, he had a ponytail too.
Yeah.
That's weird. And so I have a rule in my life is never trust a man with a ponytail. There's not many that I do trust. So of course he's like, here, let's take the princess. And I'm like, you can't take the princess. We got to go get the ice. Cool. Right. So again, he shuts it and he's like, you don't know what you're missing, baby. You know, so then they, you know, of course they go into the big, I guess, hangar. Right. It's got all the ice in it.
Lots
of
ice.
Yeah. They're like, smells like spring water. I can smell it from here. And it's just ice, you know? So we know that, you know, there's so many tons of ice. They're just ice blocks.
Giant ice blocks.
Yeah, and so they're Angelica Houston's there. Everybody's just standing on a rail like dumbasses for a minute, and then one dude's like, "Hey, you!" and he climbs up a regular ladder. Did you notice that ladder?
I did.
It was like a Home Depot ladder that was just tied on. You know what I mean? To make it look like they're in somewhere really cool.
Was there Home Depot in 1984?
I think so.
Really?
No, it was Builder Square.
Ace Hardware.
Do it right.
True Value.
Menards.
Save big money at Menards. All right.
So, of course, he does his swashbuckling at this point.
Yeah.
But he's not a very good swashbuckler because he goes through the deal and he starts to fight him, but yet he falls through the little cardboard desk that they have.
Yes.
And, of course, a robot comes to save him.
Yes.
You know, he's like, thanks, man. Thanks, little buddy. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So they're taking off and they go to the bridge, right? He goes to the bridge because they didn't want to alert anybody. Right. So they're on the bridge, and you got the eunuchs and everything. So you got these guys that are in straight white, right,
with white wigs,
white clothes, spandex clothes, and everything.
They have numbers on them,
right? So, and as soon as he walks in, he's like, "I wouldn't do that if I were you," you know. And the two like warrior robots come up, and he's like, "Call him off," and he's like, "Stop." Yeah. So those dudes are like, oh, and they're even breathing like Darth Vader too. Yeah. Which is pretty weird.
Yes.
So he's just like being cocky and shit like that, walking around, and one of the robots is like tripping out. So one of the eunuchs is like, "Oh, guess what?" And they hit the alarm. So they got to get away. Angelica Houston is leading. What's his nuts? Ron Pearlman and everything, and they're trying to get, all the ice
because they end up. Yeah, they split up. They go after the ice, and he goes
to the bridge. But then whenever they're leaving, after the alarm goes off, he's like, "Hey, you guys go. I'll be right back." So he gets his more rapey vibe going on, and he goes and grabs the princess.
Yeah,
what?
He just steals her.
Yeah, what is that?
And then she starts waking up on the way out.
She's
like, "Get off me! What are you doing?"
And he just captures her. Right? He just takes her into their ship.
He does say for the ransom, but
what ransom?
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's a princess.
She's a princess. Yeah. They're like, you need to stay away from the princess. They tell him that on the bridge and shit.
Well, everybody tells him. Even his own people are like, "Stop!
Yeah.
No,
this
dude.
is weird, dude."
It sounds like it probably happens every time.
Yeah.
What
he
I mean?
sees something like an alien chick or something like that. He's like, "Oh, you got green skin."
He's like the Captain Kirk of this movie.
Yeah, but like a creepy Captain Kirk. Like weird. So of course they get into the ship, and then they're trying to take off, and then they're firing at them.
Right.
Because there's like was that a general dude or something? They're like, "You need to get him," and it's like some general, and he's like, "I'll get him when I can."
Yeah, I'll do what I can.
Yeah, I know. It's like there's no like hurriedness. There's no. He was
like the admin guy. He's like, I'll get to it when I can. He's the middle manager.
Yeah, You got to give me a form, and I got to send it off first because there's at least 3 of us in this rank that I got to let know that we're gonna
triplicate.
Fire. Yeah, please stamp
only
this.
Use a black pen.
Yeah, shit. I only got blue. So
nothing happening today, kiddo.
So of course they catch up with them,
right?
And they start like they're in pursuit.
Yes.
But their ship, the pirate ship, eventually splits in 3 parts.
Yes.
So you have Angelica Houston on one side and Ron Pearlman.
It was Ron Pearlman, who, by the way, lost a hand at this point.
Yes, because they were going through the ship, and he puts his hand out, and one of the freaking robots like freaking chops his hand. He's like, "Hey, get my hand,
get
man!
It, hurry up!" Robert Urich did get it, by the way.
Yeah, he did. And Roscoe gave it to him.
Yeah,
Roscoe was like, "Here you go." He's like, "Oh man, my hand." You know what I mean? So, of course, that's before they split.
Right.
So then they split off into 3 parts, and then it's Roscoe, Jason, the princess, and
Nanny.
Was it Nanny with them? Yeah.
No, not at this point.
No.
Not yet.
In like a robot.
Yeah.
One of the robots.
One
because
of the robots.
Roscoe's...
You're absolutely right. It was one of the robots.
Roscoe's talking about, quitting the game or something like that, make robots, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, you're pretty good at it." I mean, he kind of he mentions it. That he wanted, that's what he really wanted to do. After this payday, they were going to make a lot of money, right? Always with the last payday, But this is the one that goes completely wrong. So, of course.
Like everyone in the movie shows.
Of course, right? So eventually they get boarded, because he gets cocky, he's eating an apple or something. And he's like, "Oh," she's like, "I can," or no, yeah, she's hidden somewhere, right?
Yeah, she's like in another room.
Yeah.
I think they just have her put away.
And then, the one guy comes in and is like, "All right, you guys are captured. Now I'm not going to kill you. We're gonna send you somewhere,
Worse.
Yeah." And he's like, "Okay." So of course they're captured, and that's whenever the princess is like walking the factory.
Yeah.
What for?
I think she had a plan.
Did she?
I think so.
Huh. Well, I mean, she just saw a pirate and was like, "Oh, he can. Yeah, he can help me." So
I think that's what happened.
so they're in this weird like cage thing.
Yeah, okay.
That's above, right? Because they're captured, and they're like, "Where are they taking us?" And John Matuzak's like, "Yeah, this is what they do to all of us. This is like the worst part of the ship. Because he shows up and he's like, 'Hey, would you like a I'll trade you this for your soup.
For half your soup.
Yeah, I'll just give it for an eighth of your soup." And then that one big dude's like, "Hey, man, where's my necklace? You stole it." And he's like, "Hey, You gonna search everybody? What? And even Roscoe's like, oh shit, that's his necklace. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
and he's like, yeah, they're gonna what did he call it? Oh my god, where they redesigned.
Yeah.
They were gonna redesign them. That basically means they're gonna chop their bait and tackle off. Right? They're just gonna and they're done, right? But the people that they won't do it to is monks,
Right.
because just in case. That's how he puts it. He's like, they only do it just in case there is, a
god,
a god, then they won't get in trouble. So of course, they see the princess as they're going over it, right? They're going to their eunuch ceremony, right? So they're going over, and she sees him, and she's like, all right, that's my man right there. You know what I mean?
My man's.
This my man's is. And of course, so they got him on a conveyor belt.
Well, I love that we do see Matuzak leave in the...
As soon as they drop, he's like, be well, my brothers.
Yeah.
They're like, what?
And I'm
Wait.
thinking, what happened to that poor guy that was in there?
Right. What happened to the real clergyman?
Right.
They're building him up to be something pretty cool,
Right.
which he ends up, he's pretty cool. So basically he's like, just chilling. And they're on that conveyor belt, and he's not really taking it serious. Robert Urich is in.
Right.
Because you have every person that they meet along the line is pretty funny, because they're going down the line and
They have the hedge trimmers.
yeah,
to cut off the clothes.
cutting off his clothes, right? And you could just hear the screaming, and that one dude's like, "Power to the people! Walk off your job!" It's like, but he's wearing like a beret and stuff like that. It's just freaking weird, right? And that one guy's like, you know what? They're trying to screw me out of overtime, man. He's like,
It was like, and I'm missing 2 hours of overtime, and
yeah. He's like, oh, don't stop doing your job right now. And then they shoot him with the tranquilizer, and Roscoe's like, I'm gonna need 2 of those. So they're going through, and you get to hear the one dude, power to the people. You just keep hearing it, and they get to the shaven part, where the old man that's shaking is like shaving his face, and then the one dude looks down, and he's like, he's shaving his schnutz. So and then they get to the next station, and he's like, hey, what are you ladies doing? Because they're doing this teeth or something like that.
Yeah.
And she's like sticking a microphone in his mouth or something, and I don't know what they're looking for, because she's got pliers.
Yeah.
She's got that deal.
It's like, maybe we can get together later.
He's like, I don't think you'll be up for it.
Because the next station is the metal mouth of doom.
The clamps.
Yeah.
It's like, kunk, kunk. It looks so like menacing. Right?
And as he's going to it, it stops, and he goes through.
Yes.
And the princess is on the other side, and she says, just act like it happened or something, whatever.
Because he's screaming all the way through it. And because he tells Roscoe, hey, just be cool, man. Be calm. Don't worry. It's not going to be that bad. Ah!
Well, I noticed when Jason was coming to it, it seemed to stop sooner.
Mm-hmm.
But when Roscoe, it seemed like it waited until just like...
right there.
Like she was fucking with him.
Yeah. And then his eyes are closed. He's like, ah. And she taps him on the forehead. Like, it'll happen for real if you don't follow my instructions.
You're right.
He's like, okay. Thank God. So then they're in the
dressing room thing.
Well, like the Planet of the Apes. I'm going to sell, I'm going to sell Caesar type of a deal. So, and I think that one dude that's on there, the first one that they pull up is Robert Picardo. Which he's been on a ton of stuff. He was on like Gremlins 2 and shit like that. Okay. I really think it's him uncredited. Cause the one woman that's adjusting their clothes pulls it up and is like, how's that? That's fine. I'll speak in a higher voice. She does it to Robert Urich, and he's like, that's okay. It's a little snug. Good. And so of course the princess walks in. You don't really see her, cause they're all standing
with her.
She's got her like a robot.
Well,
right?
and she's got the lady with her.
Her nanny or whatnot.
The nanny, yeah.
And so they're like, okay, well, we're going to get these guys. He looks a little older than that
she's
one.
like dogging him a little bit.
Like, And then even the one woman is like, see, you know, the black ones are very, very popular. And she's like, oh, well, he'll match the wallpaper. What the fuck? Even he's just like, huh? He's like, what? Okay. So at first he's smiling because he knows he's going to get picked. But they both know that they're going to pick. She's like, I guess we'll take this one.
Right.
You know? So they do end up getting out, right? So they have to put on that facade for a little bit.
As if they are the eunuch slaves.
Yes. Yeah, and they have not... She has not told him what the plan is because she shows up in a bomb ass dress at some freaking nightclub.
But they're at this party, yeah.
It's a nightclub. What the hell is what's going on there?
Okay.
It was just for a dramatic escape, I guess.
Yeah.
And so home dude's like drinking. Roscoe's drinking, but he goes to the back to the robots. And
because they're servers.
Yeah, he's a server. And of course, one chick like put some electrodes on her head and like, you gotta try this, man.
And then he's like watching up her skirt. What a creep, dude.
Exactly. Don't watch Cheers because Ted Danson is a freaking creep throughout the whole thing.
Bet.
And so
80s.
Yeah, even the princess is
80s
like
creep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Princess is like, you're not supposed to want that anymore. He's like, So he looks up again. So it's like they visited Mr. Nice Guy.
Yeah.
You know, they're floating on the ceiling, just like chilling. Come on up. So he goes, Roscoe goes to the back with a tray of drinks into the robot room, right? And all of a sudden, one arm reaches out and grabs a glass, and it's John Matuzak. He's like,
he's in a night outfit.
Yes. He's like, can you get me a sandwich or something? Which is just funny. Right. And he's like, what are you doing here? So
he's like trying to save myself.
Right. So eventually, the one main bad guy that's in pursuit of them always is talking to the princess. And they're like, oh, so you got the pirates, huh? And she's like, yep. Yeah,
and
I got
even
them.
like fitting. Yeah. Or something.
That'll work for that.
Because she says I couldn't resist. And he's like, yeah.
Right. So basically, because they're on the planet that's got the water on it, right?
Yeah, and her father was obviously the king. She's the princess. But he left. And so this guy is like basically trying to take power. You know what I mean?
Pretty much.
And find the seventh world. We find
like
out.
freaking Robin Hood, man.
Yeah, 100%.
For real.
Yeah.
That's like King Richard.
Yeah.
King Richard's gone.
Yeah. We'll do a different podcast about how King Richard wasn't from England. And only lived there for like 2 years, but that's a whole different story.
Whole different podcast.
Yeah.
So eventually they get to the point where they find out that they're not real eunuchs.
Right.
And so they have to fight their way out. Jason's like, you know? So they find a motorcycle. And Matuzak's like, hey, let me go with you.
And there's 4 people on this motorcycle.
And they drag him, you know, behind the dill. And finally he gets knocked off. So does Roscoe.
Right.
And they're running, right? Because they're in, you know, like Westgate Mall or some shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's weird. That little facility is weird. Because it's like a civic center or
100%.
Like a meeting room or meeting hall, Best Western.
Well, they get the motorcycle because Matuzak knocks the guy off.
Yeah,
of it, right?
He's like, you know. I don't know why they didn't get another one because they eventually wreck, and instead he's like, Roscoe, come with me, and Jason's taken off with the princess, and they're still going around in the circle, right?
Right.
And then this is where we get the pimp bot.
Yes. The funniest part of the movie, in my opinion.
Yes. Matuzak's in his freaking armor. You got Roscoe. That is the eunuch at that point with the white hair.
Right.
Everything's white. And he's like, say, Bloods, what's happening? You know, he's a jive talking robot.
Jive talking.
He's like, well.
You like girls?
Yeah, he's like, well, we're not really. And he's like, hey, man, I'll just give you a ride. And he's like, okay. We'll get out of here.
Yeah, he ends up trading the necklace.
The same necklace that he gave to Roscoe earlier.
Right.
Even Roscoe looks at him like, what? Where'd you get that?
How'd that happen?
Yeah. So, the jive robot helps him escape. So then that's when we find out what the princess's whole... Because she takes off. They get to see him take off. The main bad guy is looking outside the city and it's like... obviously it's them.
Right. I mean, they're the only ones that would be leaving right now
I guess.
on the whole planet.
Yeah, no spaceport. So of course they think they're free.
Right.
You know, she's like, "Hey, I need you to find my dad. He was on the search for the what do they call it?
Seventh planet.
Seventh planet. Yeah.
The seventh world.
Yeah. So and
Right?
something like that. It was like the seventh. I
think it's the seventh world. Yeah, the seventh world.
Yeah. So basically, they're like, "Hey, we got to take you here." She's like, "Hey, we own the water, so we're the ones that are gonna get us passage to this place. Do you know this guy?" Hands you a picture. He's like, "Yeah, that dude's pretty cool. You know, we've been friends for a long time." And then, of course, he's acting like a cocky son of a bitch, eating his apple, right? But which that's a common trope,
Right.
That's like that cocky trope. But yet, Matuzak has an apple. Fucking Roscoe has an apple. And he even feeds it to the robot, the trash bot. You know, this like...
With the tongue.
Yeah. Just going back
Yes.
and forth. He's like, "Hey." And he throws it in there.
Because that was the only thing they found on the ship.
Right. It was just the trash bot.
Yeah.
But then Roscoe goes to the closet. There's a closet in the front. And he opens it up and all the shit falls out and like a rock and everything like that, right? So you don't really think much of it.
No.
So they're...
Not until later.
Right.
Foreshadowing.
So she pulls a gun on him. And is like, "You're going to take me." And he's like, "Who's going to fly the ship?" She's like, "Well, he already put the coordinates in the computer."
Roscoe's like, "Yeah, I did."
Oh, shit. So they're like, "Okay." Because they're going to the pirate planet.
Yes.
Is where they're headed. Because I got to go meet up with the rest of their crew or something like
They
that.
got to meet up with... Go to the light, Caroline.
Yes. Angelica Houston and Ron Pearlman are waiting because they were on the separate ships. So, you know, of course, Roscoe's sleeping in an ascot, which is weird.
Weird.
Yeah, he's got a full, like, pirate regalia. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, he's got the cuffs and the arms and everything. He's like the coolest looking one, right? Urich's got the half-tied shirt, you know what I mean? Like he's...
like he's in a romance novel.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's like he's a low-rent freaking...
Lorenzo Lamas.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, you just see him posing. So, of course, Roscoe's sleeping.
84.
Yeah. So, something like cracks open, that little rock thing cracks open, and this weird, gross-looking creature pops out. It's like, "Eeeh." So it's alien, so that's another thing that they added into it.
It even kind of had the mouth thing that, you know.
Yeah, he's alien. So Roscoe's sleeping in his ascot, no shirt on, right by the bridge, right?
Right.
And Robert Urich's just like walking around or doing something stupid. So, you know, of course, Roscoe feels something weird. He's like, what's that? So he grabs it. He's like, "What the hell did you put this on me for, man?" He's like, "I didn't put that on me. What is it?" And then he's like, here, help me lift this. It went under there. So they lift it up and they're like, "Oh my God, it's a space herpes."
The ship's got herpes.
The ship's got herpes. It's just like that was an in joke.
And there's one.
Yeah.
The one herpes. So it doesn't have herpes.
Yeah. But it runs off and it's all slimy. It's like,
super gross.
Yeah. Just weird.
Yeah.
And they show it close up with the face. It's like got a human face on it and shit like that. Ugh, it's just gross. And he's bit, you know, so it's something that like they developed but didn't like follow through.
Right.
Because there's even a part where the pig and the donkeys are hanging out with the freaking herpes at the end.
Yeah.
I was like, what the well, that is weird, right? So nobody really knows that thing's on there except for those two, right?
Right.
So they end up on the pirate planet, right?
Yes.
So they're going to find their friends. They show up at the bar. Of course, they're taking a limo there.
Right.
Right. So you have the one dude with the ski goggles that flip up.
Right.
So he's just like chilling. He's like, "Oh, those guys, they're here." So he goes talk to Patch for some reason.
Right.
I don't know why. And of course they have decided to cut them in on the ice or something.
Yeah, they're going to give them a third of
whatever they have.
Yeah,
so they're all going to be rich anyway.
Right.
Angelica Houston's like chilling, sitting down, right? So is and Ron Pearlman walks up. He's like, "Hey, man!" He gives him a high five and he pulls his hand off. He's like, "Ah!" He's like, hold on. He pulls his hand out. And he's like, oh, okay. He's
You
okay.
got me. You got me with the old fake hand.
They pulled a Jason X on that one.
Yeah.
And he like regrafted his hand to it. So so they're all chilling. There's like, who's this dude? And Ron Pearlman and Matuzak automatically hit it off.
Yeah, they're like besties.
Yeah,
right
'cause
away.
He looked just like the other dude that got shot.
Yeah. Only bigger.
Yeah, only just like 3 times bigger. So they're chilling there, and of course Patch walks up, and because Jason he's telling the princess, hey, you need to go flirt with that person that works for the city.
Yeah.
Because they got a Land Cruiser. We need to go out to Sweetwater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they find that's where they uncover where he was.
That's where somebody that the one that was in the picture.
Right.
They were going to go look for him, which was in Sweetwater, I guess.
Well,
yeah.
I think that they knew he was on the pirate planet, and then when they got to Sweetwater, or when they got to the pirate planet, they found out he was in Sweetwater.
Right. And she has a Land Cruiser.
Right.
Which is like a land boat.
She,
whatever.
Well, it was he thought it was a he.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's like, you're going to have to go flirt. And she goes over there.
She's like, do you have any advice for me? Like, no.
He's trying to be a dick, you know.
Yeah. It never works out for him when he's trying to be a dick.
Of course not. So he goes over there, and of course Patch walks up and with the ski dude, and they get into a little bit of argument with Angelica Houston, right?
Yeah.
And Angelica Houston's like, bitch, please, right?
Well, that dude pulls out that sword.
Yeah.
And he like cuts up the table.
Yeah. But it only one slice, and he knocks it apart, and you're like, oh, that's lame.
Right.
Yeah. So
and then she
takes a
comes to
small
find
swipe.
out she's like a sword badass.
Right. She just takes a small swipe. She's like, whoosh, and he's like, but his head like fucking drunk
falls off
really badly. It was a horrible effect.
She goes after the boss, gives him a couple marks on the side of his face and his eye.
Yeah, knocks off his patch.
Yeah.
And cuts him on the side of the face.
Yeah.
They're pirates too.
Yeah.
Come to find out.
Yeah.
So
different kind of pirate.
So of course they're on their way to Sweetwater. She
because come to find out the guy that he told her to go flirt with was actually a gal. And so he had to go do the flirting.
So he does.
And she's like a frog lady.
Jolene, what do you
she's
think
got
of my
the tongue.
blouse? Yeah. Do you like my blouse?
Green's definitely your color.
Yeah. And it's just those three, isn't it? Mm-hmm. They're the only 3 people there. And they're riding in their fancy cruiser while Angelica Houston and the other people are getting everything ready to take off so they can go where they need to go. So they show up there, and of course there's only one person in the whole town, and it's the guy they're looking for.
Yeah.
And
I like the sign though. It said trespassers would be violated.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's cool.
It's already over with.
It's gross.
I know, right? I thought the same thing. That's why I was like, ugh.
And the sign was turned the wrong way.
Right.
But that's a whole different story.
But it's just like a shanty town.
Yeah, yeah.
Nothing in it. There's 2 miniature donkeys and 2 little pigs.
Yes.
Right? What kind of, I don't even know.
Manger scene.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know why I was thinking
there's a part where that comes into play.
Yeah.
And that's where you find out about Space Jesus.
Yes. So they pull up, and Home Dude's like shooting the groundhogs.
With slingshot,
Yeah, he's got like a wrist rocket. Yeah. He's like, whoosh, goddamn sons of bitches.
And he's like probably, 20, 30 years older?
Something like that.
Than Robert Urich.
Yeah, and he's like, hey, what happened to you? Got caught in a time warp. Gained 20 years and 20 seconds.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, shit. So that's real. But he got out of it and then came back. And he says he knows where...
Because he was the last person who's seen her dad. That's why they're going after him.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, you're looking for your dad, huh? Like, he already knows.
Yeah, he's like...
Yeah.
I've been waiting for you to get here.
Yes, I've been waiting a little while. Oh, okay. So
he's our Obi-Wan Kenobi, if you will.
Oh, that's right. He is.
Out in the desert. Oh, hold on, because it gets better. He's about to die.
He doesn't last long.
No.
Because off in the distance, he sees the Land Cruiser with the
God.
skull on the
And
front.
those giant wheels.
But there's like 6 wheels underneath it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, of course, the frog lady's like, no, I'm leaving. She gets exploded, right?
Yeah, she gets straight exploded.
Yeah, but the vehicle's okay.
It's yeah. Well, there's a lot of inconsistencies in this movie.
So it's weird, right?
right.
So, of course, they basically, oh my God.
They just chase him around for the longest time.
Like in a big circle.
Yeah, in a big circle with this giant truck thing, whatever, with the skull on the front of it.
It was like a pirate ship with wheels.
Yeah, kind of. With a big skull on the front of it.
Yeah.
And horns.
Yeah,
like it was Mad Max or something.
It was like a mast.
Yeah. It was something.
Yeah. Even at one point,
Sand pirates.
They even board.
Yeah.
And he knocks the dude off, but he falls down, and then he gets underneath the dill, jumps up, right? Puts his knife on the wheel in like a real swashbuckling thing instead of putting the knife in the sail and flowing down. He does that and gets up and he's like, hey. And he, like,
he
kills
just
him
walks.
off.
I love it because he just walks behind him and starts pushing him off the thing. Like they're all in a row looking over the side.
He's just knocking, like he knocks 4 of them off, except for Patch, right?
And
So
like
Patch
one
is
other
there.
guy, I think.
Yeah. And so eventually they get away.
Yes.
But yet that's before, or that's after Home Dude gets shot, the guy that they were looking for.
Yeah.
Because he explained where everything's at, how the planet is real, it's not a myth, blah, 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 blah.
Because
blah.
that's the resounding theme through this is everybody that's talking about this. Every time they bring up the Seventh Planet, everybody thinks it's like just an old myth.
Yeah.
know?
They're like, no, it's not real.
That's dumb.
It's in the center of the universe. Whatever. It's
Get
not
outta
real.
Get out of here with your time herpes.
Time herpes. So of course he dies in the most dramatic fashion.
Yes.
She's crying, because they met 5 minutes earlier.
Yeah,
they had a bond.
As you do.
Yeah,
But he did tell her that she reminded him of her dad.
Right.
So that's probably
she could tell
yeah.
by her demeanor that you're just like your dad.
That's a good enough bond to cry about.
I guess, right? And
Robert Urich didn't cry, and that was his friend. Jason's a douche.
Yeah, they only went on a couple adventures, There's nothing like this one.
Yeah.
So, of course, they're back on the ship, and they got the donkeys and the pig. And, of course, they're getting ready.
Yeah.
Roscoe is, like, building all the robots. They actually get one of the broken robots that they had before, like his favorite robot. And he's like, it's weird, huh? I got him back.
Yeah.
So he kind of rebuilds him back up.
He tells them that the robots cost $5,000.
Right.
Whatever their units of money are.
Right. It's like 5,000 liters or something like that. 5,000.
Yeah.
Because that's how they pay everybody.
Yeah.
The dude's shoe shining. He just like squeezes a rag into his cup and he's like, thanks, man. It's weird.
Yeah.
So they don't really explain how currency goes through.
Yeah.
They don't need to.
No.
I mean, we get it.
I think it'd be hard to pay somebody in 5,000 liters of anything.
Where are you going to do it at? So.
Brought my cargo ship with me.
Yeah, exactly. We're pirates on land. This is weird. Pirates in space with no water. It's weird. So
This is like reverse Waterworld.
Yeah. Worse than Waterworld. There is dry
It's
land.
reverse
Yeah.
Waterworld.
Yeah. It's all dry.
Because Waterworld takes place on one place, on one planet, right? And they're just looking for dry land the whole time.
The whole time.
This thing takes place in the whole galaxy, and they're just looking for water the whole time.
Looking for a water planet.
They should get together and talk to each other.
Yeah. Go bowling.
Yeah, absolutely. Here, have some water. Here, have some land. Great.
So, where do they get the coordinates? They had the coordinates for the Oh yeah. So they have to go to
'Cause they had to go somewhere else first, right?
they got to go over to a different planet, and that's Wyndon, because they know that they have to go to the Tri system.
Yeah.
So this is where we get to see Bruce Valanche, but not yet.
Right.
Because, of course, Ron Perlman's cooking all the food and everything. He's like, hey, it's a turkey. The space herpes pops out, right?
While they're all sitting down to eat this turkey, comes right out of the breast.
And they're like, oh, my God, why didn't you tell us that was it? He's like, we just found out about it. And they like couldn't. Well, we already knew about it. They said it at the same time, but then opposite do it.
This is unforgivable.
Yeah, so it's gross. I guess space herpes are like the worst, right?
Yeah.
They still haven't killed it.
Yeah, not yet.
Yeah.
But they do later.
Yeah. So everybody's like, gross, I lost my appetite.
Yeah.
So then they land on Bruce.
It's like you were going to
Valanche's-
eat the turkey that the space herpes came out of.
Yeah, right?
Gross.
I mean, Matuzak might have.
Yeah, maybe.
So of course, they're on this weird planet full of unicorns and like Amazonians.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that one, man, like, buries his horn.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dang, I didn't know they use those as like a weapon. Like,
Right.
it's like cut off and there's like blood.
Right. And it's in the robot's chest.
Yeah.
What? Right. That's just weird.
Yes.
Yeah. Does it grow back? I
And
guess
it's like
it
all
does.
foggy. And
Yeah.
they just keep coming out of the fog.
They're like, oh, maybe we could just use this set with nothing in it and we'll call it another planet.
Well, they cut our budget in half, and we have a new production head and or studio head. So
we got a room to use.
dude, seriously, like the director was like, "This was a fiasco."
Yes.
I think that was his quote.
Because it really is.
Like the whole situation. Yeah.
So eventually they get to where they're inside the place. They're inside this weird palace type of a deal.
Yeah. And the Amazonians, well, they take them, the Amazonian ladies take them.
Yes.
Because you're not going to beat the Amazonian ladies in the fog, apparently. There was a lot of them. And they had, whatever. Anyway, so yeah, they take him to the castle, and it happens to be Bruce Valanche's castle.
Mm-hmm. And he's a real robot.
Yeah.
Too, which is weird because, you could tell something's wrong with him.
Something's weird about him.
Yeah. And so, of course, they break free. And like the Amazons are like on top of Jason like nothing, right? Like headlock type shit,
Like
everything.
with their leg.
Right.
Yeah,
She's like MMA, like fucking karate shit. They're going to kick the crap out of him and kill him, right? So, of course, she aims a gun at his head and is like, I'm going to do it. And he's like, you better listen to him. So, of course, they get away. Bruce
and you come to find out he's just a head.
Yeah. It's weird.
So they take the head with them.
Right?
Yeah. To get out.
Yeah.
Away from the Amazonians who would have kicked their asses.
They just show the head.
Because I love like when she does that, when she takes his head or puts the gun to his head, and then Jason's like, "Yeah, I had him right where I wanted him." I'm like, "What a douche, man!"
I know. Yeah, there's like 4 women on him. He's like, "Yeah, I was gonna bang him. It's gonna work." So, so of course. They're on their way back, right? Roscoe's building all the robots again. He's kind of putting everything together. For some reason, there was like even a more sophisticated robot.
Well, wasn't that the robot that he redid, that he made black?
Well, he painted that one black.
Yeah.
And it was the same robot from the beginning.
Right.
But he made it as fast as like one of the other robots that they had.
Said it's like so much milliseconds faster than
that
the
super robot.
the Templars robots.
Yeah.
Which the Templar are like the knights, if you will, like the Knights of the Templar.
Right, exactly.
But within within this kingdom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
So
and that's the guy that's taken the power.
Yeah, he's the one. Yeah, he's the bad guy, the rat looking
the main dude.
Yeah. So of course,
the main dude, informative.
Yeah. So of course, they have to. There's a gratuitous sex scene.
Okay. And he's got the little
It's a tape.
Like a tape, yeah. And he's like, goes to her room, right? And they put it in. And it's a storm. It's called Passion Storm is the name of it. That's what they say. And there's just like rain and lakes and a love. Like they're just getting it on.
And they're getting drenched.
They're getting drenched. So I'm going to stop you right there because earlier when they said, oh, this planet where clouds make rain.
Yeah.
And they're like, what?
That's real?
So where the hell did they get all these scenes of all this water that they played? Second, were they just wasting all this water that would like they had? Because that was a long rain. I just don't understand the concept. You know what I mean? Like it seems like out of concept for them.
Right. Were they going to collect the water? If they were going to collect the water, then somebody's going to drink some nasty ass water. You know what I mean? Do they have?
You're drinking my kids.
Like gross. Like literally, I was thinking they're going to have a filter, and then somebody's going to be drinking that water later because they ain't going to waste it. No, you know what I mean?
I agree. But I just didn't understand how they had such a great concept in all these pictures of Earth.
Right. Where did that fucking shit come from?
You know?
Yeah. It was just weird.
Yeah.
It just, of course, this shit's always weird. So, of course, yeah, they get it on. And the Templars catch up with them, huh?
Yeah.
They catch up with them, but yet they know the course that they're on because they actually have a recording from her father.
Right.
Saying you need to stay on this course, do not deviate.
Or you'll be sucked in the time stream or whatever.
Yeah, and you won't be able to get out, and it'll...
And we found out that his plan, the Knight of the Templars leader's plan the whole time was to let her find.
Yes.
You know?
He's like, oh, yeah, this was part of the plan, you know?
Like, so they could follow to the seventh world.
Go to the actual mythical world that they were supposed to, right? So, of course, they get going, they show up, and what happens? They get put into a time warp.
Yep.
But yet it's changing.
Yeah. Ever-changing time warp. So, yeah, suddenly she's pregnant. The princess is pregnant.
It's like 10 minutes later.
Yeah. And he has to go to the front of the ship for something to see the guys.
Right, because they're already on board, aren't they?
No. Yeah, I think that's happening.
Yeah.
Like all that, the people are, but they know the people are behind him.
Yeah, but he's having to go back and forth through everything.
And when he leaves her the first time, and she's like, "I'm pregnant."
Yeah.
Whatever.
He's like,
and he's like, "Yeah, okay." But then he goes to the other side, and that's when, when he heads back, she's already had the baby.
Yeah.
She's got the baby in her arms.
Yeah,
you know?
and her hair's longer.
Yeah.
She's like, here, meet your son.
Yeah, and there's still burrows and pigs like a manger.
Yeah, exactly. And the space herpes.
Yeah.
It's all right in front of the door, which is weird. So he keeps having to go back and forth because the robots are fighting each other.
Yeah.
To the point where...
Because there's all these robots that are coming, right?
All those killer robots.
All the Templars are just unleashing these robots. Like, they board them, like, and they're busting through walls and stuff.
But they're repairing their robots and throwing them back into battle.
Right.
At the same time. There's even that one robot that, like, pulls the bolt out and, like, falls apart before they even get ready.
Yep.
I always thought that was funny. But yeah, their robots are like portly little fellas.
Yep.
And even this robot, the main robot that they have, starts kicking ass.
Yeah, like he's double swording it. And like
flips
and
like kicking. Yeah, he's
like the little martial arts guy.
Yeah, he kicks him in the schnutz and then kicks him in the chest. Kicks him in the schnutz, kicks him in the chest. And do it like 3 or 4 times.
Like Three Stooges style.
Exactly. But and they have these weird little time jumps like
yeah.
And so they're
getting older.
Yeah, so you see Matuzak and he's like old as shit, right? He's got no hair like me, but it's really long. They all have really long beards, and they're in the cargo hold.
My favorite is Roscoe's giant white afro.
His afro
It
just
is
keeps
big.
getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And and then Matuzak dies, right?
Right.
He dies after Ron Perlman dies.
Yeah,
'cause
Ron
Ron Perlman
Perlman's
dies. Matuzak dies, and he goes, 10 minutes ago, I would have taken them all. So, of course, Robert Urich's like, he's old as hell. And then guess who shows up? His son.
His son, but he's like got a sword and he swings down like he's the Dread Pirate Robert.
Exactly, but yet he's Robert Urich.
Yeah.
He's like, that is my son. And they're trying to run away from the robots, but they're barely walking.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm trying, we're going as fast as we can. It just makes no sense. So eventually they win and they get rid of those dudes and they're in the time warp somewhere.
Say that again.
Don't they get rid of the guys?
So it just happens. It's like, and they're back to normal.
Right. And the other ship's stuck in the time warp.
That's what I don't understand. So here's like and again, this whole movie is pretty crazy, but like the guys were behind him. There was this big attack and all that stuff happened, but suddenly it didn't really happen because the time warp, which whatever. But what happened to that ship that was behind him that was about to attack him?
They were stuck in the time warp.
Why?
I don't know.
Did they veer off course? We don't know that.
They must have stayed off course because Angelica Houston actually did correct their course. Their ship's course.
Oh, that's true.
Because it like tilts over and then, of course, gravity works in space. And so they're like, Lionel Richie and that shit dancing on the ceiling, right? And it's just, she finally corrects it. And then, they get through and they're all alive and they're like, huh.
None of that happened. Oh,
that's weird.
That's crazy.
That doesn't make sense. Because they were 1 degree off course. That's why the Templar ship. They weren't on the same course as them. They were 1 degree off.
Were they?
So they were stuck in the time warp. That's why. That's why.
All right. I'll buy that. I like that better than like any reason they would have a rain simulator.
Right.
Or whatever.
Yeah, so they show up to Earth.
Yeah, and then like, oh, it's the 7th world. And it's like, here's Earth.
Yeah, but their whole explanation for it was it somehow that world got knocked off a course.
Yeah.
I think the planet would die.
Yeah, 100% would in real life.
They only have one
I
son.
still think I enjoyed this movie. It's funny, it's goofy. But I want to see the sequel where they get to Earth in 1984.
He's freaking Spock.
I think it'd be so much better. It'd be so much better.
But that's it.
Maybe not Robert Urich, you'd have to have some young cats to play in it.
But they have a whole world to themselves. Do you think they're
But is
gonna
it to
let anybody
themselves
in?
and the dad there?
Yeah, but are they going to let anybody else in on it? Give that code to them?
Well, I don't know.
Get through the time
They
warp?
seem rather altruistic, so maybe they'll share the water wealth. I don't know. I don't either.
Because that one planet saves an entire galaxy.
Yeah.
There's still the other ice planet. So you got 2 sources of water.
Well, maybe they need that, and obviously, because water's pretty...
It's going to get gross really fast. Yeah, it's going to get gross really fast. Is everybody bathing for once?
Yeah.
Ugh. It's going to stink like fucking...
I would just go down there and like live near a lake and a waterfall and be like, this is what I do now.
Drink water.
Yeah. I just have water all the time. There's like a stream right here.
Now I don't have to be a pirate anymore. I could be a water pirate.
I don't have to worry about space herpes. Just
Gross.
real herpes, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It just it ends abruptly.
Yeah.
It's like, what the...
It's over.
Okay.
But I kind of, like I said, it has a lot of elements. It's pretty funny. There's silly parts.
Well, it's almost like a parody.
Kind of. But I think what I would have liked to seen was like what the $20 million version of this movie in 1984 would have been, with like no craziness going on with the studio, or they changed the studio executives during the filming of this. Came and fucked it all up, you know what I mean? So I would like to see what that would have looked like a serious effort at the movie, because I don't think that the premise is terrible.
No.
And I don't think it's not ever been done, though, at this point, maybe.
Well, what I was going to ask you is, do you think that they should remake this?
Yes.
But better.
Better.
Get rid of like the what? It's too discombobulated.
It's just all over the
They
place.
threw in Star Wars. They threw in freaking Robin Hood. They threw in pirates. They threw in aliens.
Yeah.
Like Alien the movie. You know what I mean?
I thought that was really unnecessary. It's the part that I remember, obviously, from a kid. Space herpes.
Yeah. But it's unnecessary.
It's totally unnecessary.
That did not drive the plot any further.
No. Yeah. I think you could remake it. It can be worse. Well, it could.
M. Night Shyamalan could make it. They're in space the whole time. No. Yeah, I think. Would you do it seriously? I mean, like, would you make a serious movie out of pirates that get ice?
So first of all, here's the first thing I would do: the pirate section would be gone.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is just the swashbuckly, like carrying a sword.
Okay.
Wearing the piratey clothes, that would be
Right.
gone. You can still be a pirate.
Yeah, and not have to
have to wear weird clothes that don't make sense with what's going on in the story. You know what I mean?
warm clothes.
Something, whatever. Something that looks like, makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'd get rid of all that. And I think I would make it funny, but think like Ant-Man.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I agree with you. I think if there was a movie that could benefit from a reboot and maybe even more of a hey, let's work with this idea. You know what I mean? Let's work with this. Let's make it a little bit more I don't know, better. Let's make it better because again, I think it's a cool idea. But what I mean, there's so many things that did not further the plot.
No, a ton.
Like being at the party. What the fuck was that? They could have left the planet right as soon as they got.
Well, I think it's because the Supreme dude from the Templars was there, and like she had to make an appearance. That was her plan. I didn't say it was a good plan. I think that was I think that's just what they were trying to infer, anyways.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was ever said.
But he wasn't under her rule or anything at that point, that Templar dude. So she could have basically got them, hopped on her ship, and left anyway.
Oh yeah, that's what should have happened. Like they could have had a 2-hour head start.
So that right there, cut that scene out.
Yeah.
You don't need to be running with John Matuzak.
Well, so I think you could rewrite it a little bit to where you could have a scene like that, because I think you want to establish him as the bad guy, which that really does, I think, the most, that scene. And it's cool to have them have to pretend to be eunuch servants. You know what I mean? Like within something. So maybe you rewrite it so that she did have to be there for some whatever reason. You know what I mean?
Right. So then you also got to rewrite her actually thinking that she's going to use him.
Right.
Because it's just like all of a sudden she's like, ha.
I think that's why she went there in the first place. But I think you could fill in some more backstory that would explain that a little better, for sure. You know what I mean? Or not backstory, but, a little subplot of her talking about it maybe with the nanny.
Okay. So, yeah, exactly. So, I mean, you started off, what if they never did get on that ship? That particular ship.
Okay.
The princess would have been just in her cryo chamber. And that was it?
I don't know.
Was she ever would have?
She had
there's
the nanny
6.
there.
Yeah, but there's 6 different ships, right? At the very first part, but they landed on the princess's ship for some reason.
Well, because it's a movie.
Yeah. But Why? I mean, what if they would have landed on another ship, got away with it, bam, Bob's your uncle, the movie's over.
That's why they didn't.
Exactly. But then he has to like,
and I think you have to take away that part too, where he just like steals her.
yeah,
Unless they make the statement of we are stealing her for the ransom, which he did infer the first time he talked about it, or he did say the first time that they talked about it. But it was very obvious, like when he's looking down her shirt and stuff.
yeah.
It
was,
creep.
yeah, he had an ulterior
what I mean?
motive. Yeah,
And I would cut all that crap out.
yeah, it doesn't need that.
Who would play Robert Urich's part?
Somebody cool.
Like?
Oscar Isaacs. I'm just kidding. Jamie Foxx. Joke number 2. No, I don't know.
It'd be a role reversal or a race reversal.
Oh, it'd be The Rock.
And you could have Jamie Foxx as Robert Urich's character and Oscar Isaacs as Roscoe.
Oh, it's a funny one.
Yeah.
Well, how about this?
Okay.
The Rock.
As both of them?
No, he could. He could do it.
Be the John Matuzak's character.
Oh, he would be John Matuzak's character, and then, and then for Robert Urich, who would you have? Who would you have? Hugh Jackman.
Okay.
Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman would never do this movie, but sure.
You never know.
Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, yeah. And then for the Roscoe part, Tracy Morgan.
Oh God.
No. He couldn't be physical at all.
No.
Right now.
Dave Chappelle.
There you go. Yeah, so you have those are your 3 principals. Like who would be Ron Perlman?
Yeah,
You bring him back. Yeah,
Ron
you bring him
Perlman.
back for Ron Perlman's
And
part.
then who would you have play the princess?
The Hunger Games chick, what's her name?
Jennifer Lawrence?
There you go.
Okay. Okay.
And then who would be Angelica Houston? Selma Hayek. There you go.
Yeah.
You got all these big, huge names. Dave Chappelle. Everybody. The Rock. And Bruce Valanche is still Bruce Valanche.
Is he still? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you just have
He
2.
just has to be a head.
Yeah, you have 2 reoccurring characters.
Yeah, nice.
Playing the same character that they played in 84.
I love it.
40 years ago.
I'm with it.
Well, that's it. That was freaking Ice Pirates.
So, got to rank the movie. So, how many eunuchs would you give it?
2.
2 out of 5 eunuchs?
As an overall 2.
Yeah, I'll buy that. I was going to say 2.5.
Yeah. It was fun. It's interesting. It's crazy. It makes no sense whatsoever.
Absolutely.
Has nothing that drives the plot along except for they have to find more water. And
they have to find the 7th world.
And
the Father.
They got to find Earth. There's just nothing. There's a lot of redeeming things, and I would say Roscoe is the most redeeming part of the whole movie. Him and the supporting cast, Robert Urich, get rid of him. Don't really need him. Don't really need the princess.
Well, you do.
I mean, I'm talking like the actors.
Oh, okay.
Everybody
she wasn't
else,
anything special. She was okay. I didn't think she was terrible.
No.
But I think Robert Urich could not have been in that. He's very much trying to play the Han Solo kind of role.
Exactly. I wonder if he was up for the part anyway.
I don't know what.
I think everybody in Hollywood was up for Han Solo at one point.
These people were smoking cat food if they think they never saw Star Wars. So.
Smoking cat food, that's pretty good.
Yeah, thanks.
But for real, I mean, this is too much of a mix. Of crap.
It's a lot going on there for sure.
Mad Max, swashbuckling movies, space movies,
Alien, Star Wars.
Alien.
Yeah.
What else? I mean, there was everything in it. There was absolutely everything from 1977 till then, of what movies became.
And it didn't have to be that way. And I think the first iteration was called The Water Planet.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the only thing they didn't have was lightsabers, which
you know what
thank
I would
God.
have called it? The 7th World.
Ooh.
No, the seventh world. Waterworld 2.
Or the third planet.
That is actually what happens is they land in its water world and they meet Kevin Costner.
Yeah, and he's drinking his own pee.
Yeah. And he's got gills.
Yeah. Freak mutant. That's weird about that movie because he's the only one like him. Mm-hmm. But yet they freak out because they're like mutant, right?
Like they've seen him before.
They could be like, "Oh man, this dude's cool. How did that happen?" You're not a smoker, so you're on our side. You can breathe underwater.
Right. And that was the Waterworld episode.
Yes. That was Ice Pirates. Ice Pirates. So
Ice Pirates.
The Ice Pirates. If you haven't seen it, you're missing out because it is such a crazy, mixed up, wackadoo movie.
That's right. At the very least, you need to see the jive talking robot.
Yes.
Pimp robot. Yeah, he's legit.
Why not?
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. That's
Absolutely.
all I got to say. That's all I got to say.
That's how I learned. That's an airplane is how I learned to speak jive as a child.
Yeah. We all can speak jive because of these two movies.
That's right.
That and Airplane. Say, mama. So, that's it. That's all she wrote on the old The Ice Pirates. So.
The Ice Pirates.
Any final thoughts? Anything?
No, man. Like I said, 2.5 out of 5. I enjoyed this movie as a kid, and I enjoyed watching it last night even. So,
if you just
well worth the trip.
Fun. Yeah, just go have fun.
Have a good time. Maybe, I bet, this is what I'm going to bet. This movie's real good on weed.
Yeah, it's probably the best. Yeah.
I would assume.
Well, anybody listening out there, what's your experience with Ice Pirates? If you have seen it.
Yeah.
If you haven't, definitely watch it. Send us an email at dropculturepodcast@gmail.com. Go to the website.
Yeah.
Leave a comment.
That website's dropculture.com.
Go to the socials and tell us what memories of Ice Pirates you have. Which gas station did you rent it at? You know what I mean? Do you have a copy of it on CED? That would be pretty awesome. If you do, I'll give you $10 for it. This is one of the only titles on CED. Yeah. Just drop us a line. Socials, anything. Just look up Drop Culture in Google. Their algorithm pulls it up. We're there.
With the algorithms.
Yes, we're there. All right, later, guys.
Peace.
We're the Ice Pirates, baby. Ice Pirates. Coming at you with Bruce Valan.